So, hello everyone, this is Jorali, your favorite Polish mad lad. I have just registered the episode and I have found that the episode has not been registered in the video format, so this is very nice. So let's start this. So in order to make jumping in this episode, we're gonna just add jump in our player command. Simple as that, in the bool form, and we're gonna compile our project in the bolt asset because we want to have it in the script side of our project. So we're gonna wait until it compiles. It has compiled, and now we're gonna just add the variable in a format boolean in the player controller. So here we're gonna get the key, of course, input dot get key, here key code dot space here, and that's it. So we have the jump registered and everything, and now we can head to input and the simulation part and add it to the different variables here, and now we are sure that we are sending it in the network with the correct thing. So now what we're gonna want to do, we want to do a script that will be named network rigidbody. Why network rigidbody? Simple as that. Network rigidbody will help us to make every object move on the network. So this object will have a rigid body. So network rigid body, like this. Network, yes. So what we're gonna do in the network rigid body? First we're gonna do is an entity behavior in which we're gonna take the physical state. Secondly, of course, we're gonna add or using bolt. I'm so freaking dumb. The bolt behavior. No, entity behavior. Sorry. So entity behavior here with the bolt library. No, so here now what we want to do. What we want to do is the override of the attach. Why? Because we're gonna steal now from our player controller or set state of the attach, set transform in particularly, and we will pass it in the network rigid body. That way every object will be attached automatically in the network, like for grenade weapon players. So everyone will have it because everyone uses physics. Not everyone, because some of them will not, but you know, it's a matter of time. So here what we're gonna do, we're gonna first add our variables. Why these variables? So first rigid body, of course, because we will gonna use now this network rigid body, and this network rigid body will replace rigid body on or other script, and it will be interacting with the rigid body of Unity physics engine. So here, simple as that. So move velocity will be our dot velocity of the replacement of our dot velocity. Gravity force just be gravity force, so the amount of gravity applied to the object, and of course use gravity here to make sure everything works fine. Of course, here we're gonna add two getter and setters. The move velocity at first with an security with the entity dot is controller or entity, of course, because it's very important, and gravity force getter for our gravity force. So gravity force, what is this? It will be simply the physics.gravity.y, because this is the only gravity that is applied on our object, multiplied by the gravity force that I said before, and multiplied by the frame delta time from Bolt network. Frame delta time is same as time.delta time, but in the network version, so it's shared between every instance of your game. So now we're gonna add awake in which we're gonna just set our rigid body in order to use it in future. And now we're gonna add the main feature of this script. It will be a fixed update in which we're gonna just use this. So I will explain it slowly because it's important part. So first here, we check if the entity is attached, otherwise it will make null references in the entity if we want to do something. So make sure entity is attached. Entity need to be controller or owner, otherwise it has no sense to be executed on the other instance of our game, of course. And now what we're gonna do? What we're gonna do is simply just have our move velocity, what it will be or corresponding of the rigid body dot velocity. That means every force that we want to apply to our rigid body will pass through this variable. So why we gonna do this like this? Because first we don't want to modify our y velocity, because y velocity is simply a velocity that is our falling or ascending variable that will help us jump or fall. So now we're gonna check if we are using the gravity, and we have three parts for it. First part with the formula that will add to the G 1.5 gravity force if we are falling, because the y will be negative. Next will be if we are jumping or we are ascending, so the y is positive, and this means we will apply gravity force only one time. And the other special case, here we're gonna just do rigid body dot velocity dot y, set it in the G, because this means that we don't have to calculate our own collision and physics system. Unity will be charged of doing it in the case if we are just simply not falling or not jumping or ascending. So in order to apply it correctly, we just want to replace the y parameter of our move vector by g, and the rigid body dot velocity will be set as the move velocity of our network rigid body, and this will be the only interaction with our rigid body for the moment. So to make sure everything works, we're gonna head to our network, to our player motor, and here we're gonna just replace the network rigid body, the rigid body by the network rigid body. Network rigid body, so like this. Yeah, and now we need to change the way that we are making our player moves, because we don't use anymore rigid body. But first we're gonna implement jump. Why? Because it's more logic like this. So in order to implement jump, we're gonna need first to add some variables. So those variables like here. So for new variables, jump pressed, that will help us know if we are pressing the button or not. The jump force, of course, knowing the power of our jump, is grounded, because we can't jump if we are in the air, if we are not grounded, and the max angle to know if we are grounded or not. Now we can add our jumping code. So in order to make this work, we first need to add the boolean jump in our execute command. So here, this part means that if we are not pressing before the button jump, and now we are pressing it, we will execute the jump function if only we are grounded. If we are grounded and we are pressing, we have button down action done, we now can set the is grounded to false, and of course jump pressed to true. That will help us make the game more nice. Now we have the network body. That is just a network rigid body that I named in another way in my file, but you know. So here we want just to add the upward force on our player on the move velocity. So simple as that, we just add force, and the network rigid body will be charged of making sure that we are ascending and falling in proportional ways. And now we can change our final settings. So rigid body dot velocity will be replaced simply by a network rigid body dot move velocity equal to simply network to moving direction on the x and the z axis, and by move velocity dot y, because we have changed it maybe here. And this means that if we set the move direction y, it will just make the game look very, very special, because we will erase the modification of the y-axis, and this means that our body will just fall very slowly, and of course it will be making no sense. So this way we have finished our player, but we have only finished the falling part, of course, and the jumping part. We don't have any implementation for landing. Landing is important, otherwise you can jump another time. So here what we want to do first, we want to write a fixed update and an entity behavior in which we gonna just add physics state. Don't forget to implement the bolt library to make sure that you can implement entity behavior. And now we just want to do it like in the network rigid body. To make sure no entity will calculate it for nothing. And here we want to know if we are we have some ground under us. So we will do it with the raycast. So we will raycast in the down direction for 1.3 units, and we will get the hits. If we are hitting something, we gonna just do simple thing like here. We just want to calculate the slope angle normal. So this is the angle between our feet and the surface that we are walking on. So this helps us to know if we are able to walk or not on the surface. It will prevent us to walk on mountains, for simple. And in this part, we're gonna just make sure that when we are landing and we have a negative velocity on our y-axis, that means that we are falling, we want just to make sure that the move velocity will be 0, in order to make sure that our how I can call it, to make sure that our player is is not falling when he is on the ground. Simply, this will help us to move simply to move. And of course, we are setting the grounded only if we are not grounded, and the slope angle is inferior that our max angle. And of course, if we are not touching anything, we are setting the is ground to false in any way. Okay, so this means everything's good, I think. I don't see anything to add here. Maybe go to player controller and now just add the underscore jump in the controller simulation, and of course in the execute command part just add the jump input command. So everything's done in this part. Now we want to head to our prefab, in which we're gonna just add something like the network rigid body in order to make our player move again on the network, because without this we don't have attached our transform. And we're gonna head to this bolt settings, and we will enable the latency simulation. Why we enable this? Because if you are not making the tutorial like I do, this means that you are just taking the different principles that I use to make your game. You will need to know if you are making if you are making a good decision on how you move your player. So this means that you need to simulate the lag in order to know if your movements are not some clunky, chunky, and maybe not very well done. So this helps us to know if the physics are made nicely and the movement is made nicely. Remember to take maybe my parameters for this section. So latency simulation with 7% packet loss. It's a good representation of a medium connection, I will say. So now we can build our game, of course, and in which we can open when it's finished. Oh, come on, denied access. Of course. So if you have something like this, you just need to head to your folder where you have your game, and of course undo every file, remove every file that you have. And just let this here. Of course, don't how you say it? Don't remove this. It will help you to simply, you know. So let's rebuild our game. Normally it will help us, because here we can see that the temporal files were taken by a secondary program, so it's working like normal and good. And we can connect with our two clients. We can stay here normally and spawn our player, and oh look, our player is moving, and you have some lag because I can move, you know. Look, I'm on the edge and I start moving and it has a little lag. It's important so you know if we are moving correctly. And of course now we can check if we are jumping. So yeah, the jump seems to be well done. So thank you for watching, of course. Thanks for the comment in the comment section. We are responding to every comment in the shortest time. And yeah, check our other social media, other videos, of course, and see you Tuesday. Yeah, so see you Tuesday, and remember to code every day. Bye!